Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
Episode 28 of Cyrus Says was released on August 6, 2015.
Just to remind everybody that language usage and content that we provide here may be disturbing, disgusting, probably will be and should be. Words like bloody custard and words that rhyme with that may be featured. Actually will be featured. In fact, perhaps will only be featured. Just warning you.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
Yep, at Cyrus Says, I want to talk about my new book, which is called Show Me Your Elbow. Let me explain that whole philosophy. Traveling on a plane recently, I found this experience which has been happening from childhood. When you share space with someone and elbows touch, what should be the right reaction? I'm still not clear. For example, if it's a woman and a man, do they continue touching because there's hardly any space? Do you withdraw first being the male? Does she withdraw first being the female? Have you crossed lines if you continue to stay with the elbow on the elbow? If it's two men, are you making a statement by not touching him? By acting like he's untouchable? Do you allow yourself to touch him? How long do you touch? These things have to be addressed. I feel in our society, these smaller things are being overlooked because we're worried about other things like food, water, and electricity. I say no. Elbow is an issue. I'm going to talk with my guests about this. But for now, Cyrus Says, figure out elbow space. It's a whole culture coming soon.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
Yes, a great show on Cyrus Says. Madhuri Mohindar joins us, filmmaker with a mission, and she's going to change the way Indian women are treated. Perhaps not in the immediate future, but somewhere down the line. We also discuss all kinds of sexism charges and my big bugbear, air conditioning and fans being turned off. How dare you treat us like this small minority that we turned out to be? Alright, it's called Cyrus Says, not my idea. I wanted to call it just a few numbers. That's 17, 18, and 19, but it was rejected by Chavi, who's joined us.
Hello.
Hi, Chavi. Nice to see you without those outfits, just wearing normal clothes again. When I said without those outfits, it sounded for a second like it's a naked show.
Are you not looking?
Yeah, you're wearing your shawl, the early Dilip Kumar meets Sanjeev Kumar in Sholay kind of thing.
Yeah,
but next to you is our guest for the evening and night and whatever time it is in Japan. Madhuri Mohindar, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
And I've just discovered your Tarini Mohindar's sister, who was, a couple of years, maybe more than that, junior to me in school. And but you never mentioned that. And I vaguely know her. I think when she was working with Prahlad Kakkar, we used to know her better because we did a couple of ads with her. And I remember she never sent the car on time and also never paid me conveyance. Things like that. Now, the corruption here is why are you getting conveyance if you got a car pick-up? You see, immediately, how corrupt a society is. Madhuri, let's talk about you and not Tarini for now. Madhuri is an independent documentary filmmaker. We'll hold while there's some effects of music and clapping. Her latest documentary is about, that's it, that's all we got. You clapping.
It's me, man.
I've got a whiz kid in sitting there.
We don't have the budget. This is it.
No, we do have the budget. For our guests, we have the budget. For us, we have nothing. Okay, and your latest documentary is about 4 women, not the Spice Girls, who occupy what are traditionally female fields.
Yeah, 3 women.
Traditionally male fields.
Male fields. Sport and, dance. Isn't dance a female field? I'm not sure. I'm a Shamak Dawar product. And
Not this dance.
What dance is that?
This dance is a dance from the south. It's called Yakshagana from Karnataka.
Oh, all right.
And traditionally...
So this is before trains. They have to dance and come to Maharashtra all the way. That is.
So traditionally, Yakshagana has always been performed at night, and it involves very heavy masks, and it's a lot of myths from the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. So it's always...
Okay, better not make fun or we'll get a legal notice.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
Well, it's a folk form, which is great. So
But performed by males?
Normally performed by males.
Males who look like females? Males like me?
They look like...
Made to look like females.
Yeah, they look big.
What's this whole story about? Is this a prejudice or is it true, the stereotype, that men who dance are slightly more effeminate?
Listen, I've seen a Ramlila when I was a kid where the Sita...
Madhuri wanted to tell the truth and she didn't. And you had to butt in.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we went to see Ramlila when we were little in Delhi, and at that, it's again late at night, and there are no women in it. So Sita was
This is
played
not the building in Khar, right? No, that's different. This is Ramlila, the whole act. Okay, go on.
Yeah.
So, don't let me make a fool of myself. Just go on.
between acts, Sita would sit in squat on the edge of the stage and smoke beedies because
what are you saying?
He was very delicate and feminine.
That was spoken by Chavi and not anybody else on the show. Madhuri and Cyrus are not involved in those comments. Made by a young girl who probably was under medication, not sure what she was seeing. And the lighting was terrible. You thought it was Sita, it was actually your neighbor Rita. Anything could have happened.
I think we should be very careful in this territory.
We should. But let's talk about the whole stereotype. So is that true? from your experience, because now you've studied these people and met them.
No. But I think
Did they hit on you, the male dancers?
No.
They didn't. Then my theory is correct. It's very clear.
Well, it's funny because actually on that note, that's kind of a reverse stereotype. Like that's what even, men have to deal with.
Don't complicate our already complicated show. The average
need to make
4-year-old
another
doesn't enjoy it.
The pressure to succumb to
I've got
doing
a-
things like
I've got a
teasing.
fantastic...
I love how you reverse this.
I have a
The women who are
fantastic-
doing male dance has now become about male dancers who can't do dance.
Well, most male dancers, come on, you've grown up in South Mumbai. Have you seen the boys dance? Have you gone to your actual
It's
party
true.
and just watch us dance? If you ever don't drink alcohol and sit outside like someone on the wall and actually watch a party, well, when I was younger, I could actually dance or pretend to. You can actually see that probably 1% or 2% of the males that could dance with any finesse. And the rest are like awkward flamingos, who are suffering from terminal illness. So one leg is up and one hand is up. And they're happily chest bumping each other. And sort of, I don't get it. Because you want to dance with a girl, but you just can't do it. What goes in the male mind? And then you just catch your, hey, Gopal, come here. Bang, 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 bang. This is a very sexual pelvic movement, which is actually repulsive. Okay, it looks like a caterpillar standing up or something and, trying to walk. It's just amazingly ugly. I cannot think of an uglier thing in Indian men dancing of any class or caste or community, poor, rich, festival days. They're terrible. It's disgusting. You want to pour oil on them and blow them all up.
So yesterday,
You
I
need a
have
lot
to
of
say,
oil.
I was somewhere and I sat at a cafe outside and I had a little espresso and a cinnamon roll, and I felt very Parisian and very, very New Yorkerish. Except everybody on the street was really ugly.
Racism.
I know.
Racism.
So I think all Indian men are
Such a
ugly,
forgotten
man.
art. Such a forgotten art. Racism. Prejudice. Thank you so much. This is the show to
Oh
say
gosh, now I need to make a
No,
third film defending poor men against these brutal allegations.
No. We Indian men deserve it. There's no doubt. I can't. I've studied the market. I'm one of them. I accept everything. Let me just tell you, it's a sad truth story. Exactly what you said. It just aesthetically kills you.
It does.
You go there. I'll never forget Kunal Vijaykar's gem. Once we were shooting at Fountain on a Sunday and there's nobody there. And he said, India is such a lovely country without Indians. Sometimes if you just look at it, there's something we need to clean up
I
a
think
bit.
racially, we're just not an attractive
It's
race.
not just racially, it's the personality which comes out.
Maybe.
I don't have a problem because different features attract you or different colors, whatever, shapes and all that. But the personality is ridiculously ugly.
I mean,
and
as soon as they
abhorrent.
open their mouth and spit, it's really
Look at the
not
way they
attractive.
dance. I was in... You go to any third world country in the world, the dancing is lovely. It's beautiful. Don't even get into spitting. Spitting is... people don't know it's wrong. Where are we going to start? A guy spits and you look at him, he looks at you, he thinks you're saying hi. He's waiting for you to spit so you can be friends. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Miss Mohindar, let's get back into your life and not rant and rave about our problems. As you can see, two prejudiced hosts with lots of issues. Broadcasting from Greenland. We, who live off the fat of India, have club memberships and cars and drivers and hate the country. What kind of
Only the
hypocrisy is
people.
that?
Only the people.
Only the people. No, not all the people.
Not all the
95%. No, much less.
97%.
82,
No,
60.
but I have to actually say, like whenever I shoot in anywhere in the country, I actually love the people. Like really, people.
You're just saying that to be like the counter argument to our.
No, I'm really not. Like we are so open, so hospitable. We really are. It's quite incredible.
But what gave you the idea? Let me just understand your mindset here. Are you trying to promote the whole women's movement sort of thing? And I hope I don't sound patronizing. Or is it more like you're just trying to find different cultures and you shoot that?
Well, so the film actually emerged because there's a place called the Public Service Broadcasting Trust, and they produce documentaries that are then broadcast on Doordarshan.
Right.
So they had put out a call for films on gender, and I felt very strongly that
On gender, as in female gender.
Yeah.
Let's face it, all the Bollywood films are male gender, so there's no need to have another one.
No, I'm sure soon they're going to do a call after this conversation on for male gender.
Yeah, how much they suffered. Huh? We've ridiculed them so much they're in pain.
Exactly.
They need 3 days holiday.
Yeah, they're going to just spit up some pan and go pee on a tree in sorrow.
There's no hope for us. I'm telling you honestly, when you see a man in a Lexus spitting and all, where are you? What? There's no hope.
One time, this dude chucked out a water bottle, right? So I went, picked it up, and I knocked on the window and said, you dropped something. And he looked horrified, like, oh my God, what is she talking about? So he was so helpless and so dumbstruck, he took the bottle back. And I was like, yes, I have managed to make him feel ashamed. No, he rolled the window down and threw it out again.
I'm sorry I did that, but Shavi, you were being really rude that day and I just wanted to make a point. Okay?
Fine, your point is taken. You're incorrigible.
Can we get back to Madhuri because we keep breaking her life into our cutaway and segues here.
Okay, I'll be
so
quiet.
let's just talk about it for a second. Mission Hazar and Bell Bajao campaigns are yours, and you're also one of the big shots in a thing called Breakthrough.
No, not big shot, but I do create media for them. But just going back to the film, I just wanted
You won't tell me about Bell Bajao? Okay.
Yeah,
tell us something.
well, it's all related.
Okay, go ahead.
But so the idea behind the film was there's a lot of invisible violence that women face. We don't realize it, but things like they can't pursue the education they want to. They can't even walk in public spaces sometimes at night. If they want to play sports, if you look at playgrounds, they're dominated by men. So I wanted to make a film which focused on women reclaiming these spaces and really fighting kind of these invisible barriers.
So it's called, what is the
The film is called Can't Hide Me. So the whole idea
This
is...
sounds like my weight problem. Are you making fun of me, Madhuri? In which case, I need to take action now. Spit. Somebody spit.
I think you should start ballet, maybe. Fight it.
Coming back to the segue, sorry for a second. I was just thinking, so the Indian male is thinking, if I spit, Shavi will find me attractive. I don't know. What, you're sitting there sipping your coffee and you're going, poo. So what plays out logically?
I
He
don't
thinks
know.
perhaps maybe
I don't know. So a long time ago, I asked my cousin who's male. We were walking down the street and some guy went by and honked and made a funny he did something with his
whistling
mouth.
sound, the sexual.
No, he licked his lips in this gross manner.
Yeah.
And I was just
No one else will lick his lips, I can tell you that.
Probably. And I was just like, why did he do that? Why? I mean, it's filthy, disgusting. I'm repulsed. And my cousin said, but you looked. And apparently that's it.
Oh, so he scored a point. It's like not a 3-pointer. He got 2 points for that because you looked.
I looked.
Back to Madhuri. So it's called Can't
Hide Me.
Hide Me. And so basically we're looking at how women have been sort of oppressed in all these different fields, even today, including sport.
Yeah. So one of the themes in focusing on these three women. So one is a photographer who comes from a very it's a slum on the outskirts of
God, this is
Bombay.
like my wife's story.
So mean.
But she's not going back. I left the door open, but no, I'm kidding. Lovely lady. Sorry. So from a slum, how did she get into photography? It's an expensive...
No, so she worked with this non-profit called Awaze Niswan, which does amazing work. And they basically taught these young women, many of them who had faced a lot of domestic violence or were divorcees.
And would never, from their social structure, be able to pursue the arts like photography.
Well, and also photography is about being physically out there in this space. So many of them hadn't actually broken through so many barriers, been out inhabiting public spaces. So it was a big deal for them. And
but do they go anywhere? I know this is not a question you should be responsible for, but do they actually? It could be also a bit almost satirical that it's an expensive profession. They have to buy all this technology. They have to keep up with so much competition. Do they actually have a career in this kind of?
Well, in her case, in Hina's case, she, where she lives, she decided to take up the social issues that were happening there. There's a lot of sanitation issues, overcrowding, all of that.
I don't
garbage.
think that sanitation is just her area. You can come to Malwa Hill and I can show you sanitation issues. Yes, stop.
But what's amazing actually that also came out of this photography exercise, besides being able to do this profession, learn all of this, is they actually got to go out and just hang out and have fun. As a bunch of girls, they would go out with the camera, take pictures. And what you found emerging when I was talking to them was this idea of leisure. Women don't even have the chance to really go and sit on chapati that much or, hang out.
That's true, actually.
with a
It's
guy.
always men sitting around.
Exactly.
Occasionally
Or a girl
couples.
with the guy.
Oh, yeah. But
Because you
never
can hassle.
single women groups. You're right. Not men. And definitely not single women.
And look in a park, like in Delhi or something.
Those are
at
men with
lunch
long
break.
hair, so that's confusing. Yeah.
I'm not talking about the men with long hair. There are no women in any of the public spaces.
Have
at
you been to
lunchtime.
Patna? I didn't see a single girl.
You didn't see a single girl
Single
at
girl
all.
on the streets
Right.
in the evening from 4 o'clock to 7
I
o'clock.
lived in Delhi. I've lived here, and all the workers come out at lunchtime and hang out after work, eating whatever, save puri. There's not a single woman out there.
And when they do try, they get harassed, So boys will come up to them and everybody's leering and the community begins to think, oh, who are these loose girls who are going out in groups and,
Amazing. Not allowed to actually go out and just hang out.
just hang out.
There's a movement, right? The why
I say
why
let's make
loiter? Is it?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
Let's
loiter?
make it a secular law. No Indians allowed out after 6 because they scare animals and children.
Well, there is, that argument about why are you letting your women out when men can
Your
harass
women,
them.
there were use sentences like that. There's no your women.
It's like
Aren't you an Oprah fan? It's waiting to exhale.
our women. Okay, so they say
Our women sounds like a business. You don't speak for half an hour.
Women. Don't let the women out because men will molest them. The question is why the men molesting them? Keep your men at home.
I'm not a fan of men. I got to tell you, I'm not a fan of men. And every time I'm in a plane, I have a fat man, fatter than me, sitting next to me, taking elbow space.
But I have to counter that by one thing, which is that in the second character, the one who does the dance, the Yakshagana, her husband was one of the most supportive people in her life. And when you watch the film, you really actually see this really beautiful relationship where she gets support from him. And whenever I show the film, it's one of the reactions I get. And I do feel it's important that we don't other men. You know, it's not men who are only the problem. There are supportive men out there.
But was he a foreigner? We'll take a break. Then we'll come back and talk lots more with Madhuri. All right, with Madhuri, I had to cut her short there because being a male, that's what we do. No, you cannot speak. No, but very interesting. There's a lot of this now in the last 5 years. At least there seems to be, hate to use this example, but Jessica Lal onwards, I feel that at least in upwardly mobile India, there's a very strong case for men now understanding that they may get into trouble if they try to bully the women. I think police stations are taking complaints more seriously. And somewhere in the urban areas, at least there may be a move towards a more equal society. I'm not saying definitely, but I get that feeling being a male.
Can we talk about Bill Cosby?
Yes, exactly. And what a Madhuri, you tell us, because you're all about this. We all grew up watching Bill Cosby and his, Fatherhood, was it? The famous book of his, if I remember right? Daddyhood or Fatherhood or something with the hood, you know.
The uncle in the cardigan or the daddy in the cardigan.
There you go. And he was America's father. He was America's daddy.
Yeah.
The friendly, there was no profanity in his stand-up. He was not one of those guys who got into the F's and B's and all that. He was just what a clean guy. So what a fraud it turns out to be, because not only was he taking advantage of girls, there were underage girls who were getting drunk or drugged. I mean, that's disgusting.
It's not just that, right? It's the culture of silence. There are 35 women out of 46
women. This must be happening in India too.
Of course.
I don't want to name names,
Serial
but hey.
predators.
Sorry, I'm not.
There are lots of these uncle types who look like
I'm talking about established, famous celebrities.
I am too.
Yeah, and that's the glass suddenly cracks slowly, and before you know it, it's nothing.
So,
like
did you see the New York Magazine article on Cosby?
Chavi not only hates India, but doesn't read anything Indian.
Oh, come on!
Even her chai collection is from China or something. Yeah, go ahead.
You're so awful.
It's okay.
My chai comes from Assam.
My friend Kunal will love you.
I don't know if I want that.
Let's talk about Bill Cosby. From William the Conqueror, so that's another story. Go ahead.
So, New York Magazine, please look this up. Has really, they've done this for 6 months. They've found 35 women who are all doing depositions against Bill Cosby out of the 46 who have come out, and there are more who have not spoken out. Like, they know they're there. So he's a serial horrible person.
Why would he was already an established name. Why would he need to do that?
Who cares why he did it? Why did the girls keep quiet? Right? This is what fear, exactly. So what they're tracing is that starting from the 80s, when they started this movement of Take Back the Night, where you don't shame the victim, right? And Madhuri's organization works very heavily in this area.
Is that so?
Yes.
I think that is the big problem. Sorry to interrupt again.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So
the women getting scared, the shame.
Yeah,
hence you don't know about marital rape and all that.
Responsible. And I mean, even now, India barely recognizes marital rape or date rape.
May I just counterpoint the argument for a second? Because I'm married to an alpha female who, for all the women who are subjected to abuse and oppression, every day makes me feel like the back of a shoe. Actually, I feel the back of her shoe, so I actually know.
I don't think that's like the good balance.
But she's a lovely lady and she's doing the right thing. The only man she could find was me, so she's taking out on me. But, she's doing her thing for women power. So, Aisha, thank you so much.
The funny thing is,
now this sounds like an S&M sequence. Yeah, go ahead.
In India, it's funny. There are a lot of
women,
men's organizations who feel like, there are all these laws that are benefiting the women and the women.
But mostly you have to have 6 drinks to join them. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
No, these are very deluded men who think that all the anti-dowry
I have got an email from a gentleman
who
we write this column in the Hindustan Times. He sent me a thing saying, will you please join our movement about battered husbands? Because I make jokes about being a battered husband. It's more like a joke,
Right.
You have to understand.
That's a serious issue.
It's not that bad. It's bad, but not that bad.
So you're not a battered husband. There are battered husbands.
You are not.
No, so this guy obviously has money involved. He's lost his custody of the child, blah, blah, blah. So
No. You're doing the same thing. You're conflating very different things. There is people who are actually subjected to violence, and there are people who take advantage of the law.
Chavi, I feel like I'm drowning here because I can't even finish my word. No, I'm like one of those fish who's about to die. And even look like one.
No, but I think the issue is there's a structural violence that exists, and so what happens is when people focus on these individual examples, what we don't understand is this entire structure, and it starts from when a girl is born up to basically when she dies.
Listen to her.
I just Yes.
And so there are random examples.
I'm still drowning, but go on.
But what these men's organizations are not also acknowledging is this issue of the structural violence that.
Okay, explain structural violence.
No, we don't have time. let me just tell you, I saw a Telugu film the other day. I like watching these movies, and there was this scene playing out where he and the hero and the heroine are basically almost necking, and the mother of the hero suddenly catches them and gets very ashamed and angry and infuriated, and he sort of suggests to her that no, I will marry this girl, it's a good idea, then you won't have to cook and clean anymore, and they're all very happy with this idea. And I was thinking, how sexist is that? It's just so funny.
It's reality for like 80% of our country.
It's reality.
Absolutely.
So the mother buys that argument in this film, and people like Madhuri making nice films, and then there's these people making strange films. How can you relate to that? The mother's very happy. Oh, so I have another servant for my lovely son.
And you can have sex with her. Great.
Oh, yeah, okay, now don't go there. God, stop it.
It's sanctioned.
Don't open Pandora in her box.
Exactly.
Let's get back to Madhuri and the film now in detail. So now let's get back to your background. Bell Bajao and Mission Hazar, so you make ads, is it?
No, so the Breakthrough is an organization actually that works strongly on changing the culture that allows violence against women. So we work in a lot of states across India, and we use media as a strong tool, and we also do a lot of actual on the ground action. So for example, Bell Bajao, though I didn't work directly on the campaign.
You bajao the bell once.
Well, it's an interesting name. It's about bajowing the bell on domestic violence.
I saw these ads.
Yeah, exactly. It was really quite a national sensation.
Yeah,
exactly.
I saw it.
Yeah. And Mission Hazar has been it's our campaign we just did recently.
I thought it's a typical middle class slum that we have thousands staying together. Mission Hazar. Let's cut it down to 1,000. Yeah.
Well, when you look at our sex ratio in India.
Don't pause after sex. The 4-year-olds who are listening get confused. Listen, it's not that kind of show. We're talking about sex in the gender terms.
Unfortunately, yeah. In this case.
43 frustrated. Mine is in the gutter.
So for every 1,000 men.
And I'm talking about Chavi, huh? Sorry.
Outrageous.
34. Not a day old.
24?
24?
27.
I have no idea. Really?
Maybe no. 27 in a few months. Like 100 months or something.
You be like Buddy Holly. You be, 22 for life.
Yeah.
Let's. Sorry, Madhuri, we do this all the time. You get used to us.
Not at all.
It's like talking to children over attention span of 10 seconds. But that's what modern India is. It's practice for you. So Mission Hazar, before I went
So Mission Hazar is like when you actually count for every 1,000 men how many women there are, what you find in India is that this is a plummeting ratio.
Really?
I mean, really, it is bad.
No wonder I can't get a date. I'm just running out of women.
Yeah, exactly.
Who planned this? Suddenly we go to a disco in Delhi and it's like 18 men and one, eunuch. And we're like, eunuch, oh great, let's go. That's all we got. Not against eunuchs, we love eunuchs. I want to be a eunuch. Sorry. To stretch your argument further. I've done so much for you.
I think we need a pause on that one.
Yeah.
I want
back
to
Mission Hazar. So this, what is it called? The fatality rate, I suppose.
In the female feticide.
Yeah.
Female feticide.
Yeah.
Still being practiced. Unbelievable.
At increasing and interesting. I mean, at some point, I think you were talking about just kind of class, and you were saying, sort of we can look at sexual harassment in the upper classes, and now we're challenging it. I actually think both this issue of sex selection, of sexual harassment, it cuts across class, and it's actually sometimes more sinister because there's this idea that it's not happening in the upper classes. But who has the money to do these tests, right? Who is the one who can afford this technology? Haryana is one of our wealthiest states, and it's being practiced at the worst. It's one of the worst. UP, Gujarat.
And they're not listening to us. The Indian man is not what we need more of.
Exactly.
We've been saying that from the beginning.
Exactly. Just
you have a choice, take the Indian woman. For God's sake, any normal person can tell you that's the right decision. Oh God, really? Just look at that, Madhuri, to interrupt you for a second, but even things like wills and, from the beginning, it's always about the man if you look at it. It's always the company will go to the man, the land goes to the man, and that's all changed in our generation. I mean, you have a young girl, a young boy, whatever, brother, sister, and it's just always going to be skewed in the favor of the boy.
Yeah.
Upper class. Forget anywhere else.
Everywhere. Because the girl is Paraya Dhan, right? You're not going to keep her. She's going
I don't do does, I'm Parsi.
Right.
I'll do Paraya, you do the rest. Let's go for it. Paraya?
Dhan.
I don't think I should say Paraya again. I've just killed the sanctity of the word. The word no longer sensitive. It's now funny. We can't do that. We can't do that to things. Yeah, but
I think the issue is also really coming down to mobility. Like what's happening is
financial mobility.
No, any mobility. Mobility as in just space. Like
get out and do.
To get out and do. get out and go to school. Like when girls go to school, the biggest problem they're facing is the boys are hanging out outside their schools to harass them. They're following them to school.
Well, they're not encouraged to study. After like 13, 14, it's over.
Right.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of stuff in there too, right?
And at the same time, the boys who are 13, 14 are in the second standards. You know where they're going.
They're shaving. Yeah.
Wow.
Second standard.
Can you imagine our under 19 Olympics is always terrible.
Yeah. I did this story about the right to pee, which is
The
a
right
Bombay
to
movement.
pee?
Yes, and it ties in with the right to
So
mobility.
you hate Indians.
No,
you love foreign
Cyrus,
men.
I
And now
want
it's the
women
right to pee.
in India to be able to pee. Seriously, listen for a
There are
second.
no toilets. Fair enough.
There are no toilets. So if a girl has the right to mobility, they say, yes, she must go to school, she must go to work. And then what?
No, 6 hours in a pathshala without a toilet is ridiculous.
Yeah, you've made provisions for the boys, but the girls, you say she's got the right, but where are the
I
rest
think
of
they
the
should line up the boys on the ground floor and let the girls pee from up.
Your
Everybody
innovative
happy.
solutions are going to get us so far.
I have a daughter, so I'm always prejudiced. I also have a son. That's why I'm prejudiced. I won't get into that. They don't listen. It's
Well,
fine.
I mean, so in Mission Hazard, we did this survey in Haryana and we were like, look, why don't you want to have girls? What's the thing, right? So we got all the dowry and paraya dhan and all of that. But a big part was, look, we have these girls, then we have to send them out there and then they're getting harassed. Something may happen, something bad may happen. They may even exercise their own choices.
Oh my God.
And then what happens to our family honor? So it's fascinating. I mean, that's why I'm
It's too
saying like
deep-rooted.
the root is mobility. The idea is we put our girls out there and the girls are going out
the
there.
But they
elder-
also have sons who are the ones harassing them. What is
Yeah.
this
Do
about?
the elder mothers, the sass, if you will, do the sasses and the elderly female, the matriarchs, do they also subscribe to this theory? Because I think the fault really lies with them as well.
I would actually say the fault really lies with the decision makers, right? So the executors of the decision may be things like a SARS, right? And this is a stereotype that actually happens. People say, it's the mother-in-laws that want it. But they are just carrying out what is essentially a decision making that's happening frankly in the community.
So you're
and the
convinced it's
society.
all male.
No, it's not male. It's
If
structural.
it's not male, if it's not female, who is it?
It's
the cat?
But the truth is that females definitely have less power. I mean, that is
But
a
in a
fact.
sense, it is a sellout, right? The whole
So,
mother-in-law concept and
say the
the whole
panchayat
cycle
and
carries
all.
on again. Yeah, sorry.
The panchayat is not made up of mother-in-laws, right? Like these honor killings and all.
No,
the
but
people
someone has
in
to take a
power all
stand.
know.
And I'm saying the senior matriarchal figures, if that's the right word, stand up rather than the younger ones who really don't seem to have any chance or choice.
But do you think they're punished if they do? Like society
Of
punishes
course.
In
them?
Haryana, in
Of
certain areas, of
course.
course.
So then how will they stand
I wouldn't.
I
go
don't
there
think
to
you
study.
can put the onus on any one sort of member of the family. You know,
It's a whole
I
culture.
think-
You're right. Why are we
and that's
trying
what Breakthrough's doing. We're trying to change the culture. And
Empower women. Do your own thing. That's what I'm
Well,
trying to-
we're empowering a lot of stakeholders. So people like ASHA workers that actually help the women, Anganwadi workers that take care. They can see the trends that are happening. Panchayat leaders.
I'm sorry, when you said steak workers, I got hungry. And it's banned in the country, so I'm sorry, I'm in a totally different mood. We'll take a break while I just discuss with my local BJP MLA whether we can eat any form of steak. Judging by that gun, no? Okay. All right, back on Cyrus Says, male-dominated society, so it's got to be a male name. Should have been Shalini Says, but damn you, we went with this. Sponsor insisted. Sponsor was also a male.
He was
Who's
so
got 5
crazy.
daughters and wants me to be the son. He's so bloody old, it's embarrassing. Madhuri is with us, independent documentary filmmaker, but someone with a real heart for a topic. It's good that you have meaning in your life and you're fighting a battle. I'm 43, I have no meaning in my life. I'm thinking every day I wake up and say, what's my life about? And then,
Podcast, Cyrus, come on.
I do love the podcast, but after 45 minutes, it's over. It's
This is true.
like
We'll
lovemaking in
just-
the old days.
Never mind. Okay.
Back to our topic. Madhuri, no, listen, we cut you short. I want to get back to this. There's also some other stuff you've done. Let's talk about this video, asking for it asking for it first. What is that?
So Asking for It's Breakthrough's latest campaign that's trying to challenge sexual harassment on the streets, right? Popularly known as eve teasing, which kind of makes it out like...
It downgrades it a bit.
It's a little bit...
sweet.
Oh,
It's just teasing her.
It's like
Just
rape vis-a-vis
teasing.
molestation. You bring it down. Not good.
So I went out to up north to Benares and Lucknow, and I started
Spiritual town of Benares.
Yes,
There you
very
go.
spiritual. And we said, okay, let's talk to the boys and girls and let's find out what's going on. And we made this kind of 4-minute viral video. It's called "Boys Will Be Boys," And we just released it. It got onto Logical Indian. It's got over 50,000 views. It's pretty much gone viral. And it's quite fascinating because one of the things that emerged from the video that I found, besides the usual, like, boys are saying, look, we're just appreciating the girls. That's all, we're just telling them how pretty they are. The other thing that emerged was if a boy falls in love with a girl now, technology has enabled them to find them online, follow them home, find out their phone numbers, and they're like, but we're just declaring our love.
God.
And then we decided to connect this to what's happening in the movies, and guess what? This is a massive theme that's coming out of the movies. So we learn it from the popular culture, and popular culture reflects what's happening out in the society.
But Madhuri, my question here is, bat for the other team for a second, is that, but then what if you compliment a girl? Does that make you Jack the Ripper? Because, like, what if you just say, you're looking really nice? What's the line? How do you know what the line is?
I think it's a good question, actually. And I think a lot of...
Let's try it with Chavi. Chavi, you're looking very good today.
Thanks, Cyrus. Just don't follow me home.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and I think
that
that's
was the line. Couldn't you tell me before? You look like a fool. No, listen, come on. I talk to lots of female colleagues or friends or whatever. And I think the line is more like, if I'm comfortable with someone, they can say what they want. And if I'm not, they can't.
These are
Something
people
like
who
that.
know you. If you come up to a random stranger, like, I think the test should be, would you do this to a boy? And if somebody did this to you as a boy, how would you feel if somebody came up and was like, looking so nice?
I love it.
Are you kidding me?
I wait for compliments.
You would feel
I take off my
invaded.
clothes and walk around corners.
But fascinatingly,
then.
so we asked a girl in the video that. We said, but the boys are just saying it's for fun, right?
So she wasn't offended.
No, she said, you know what? We also like to have fun. But we don't get personal,
So
right?
Madhuri,
How come it doesn't happen the other way
Sorry,
around?
but this is all candid? You just ask them, or you sort of talk to them first?
No, it was all candid. I
All
mean,
candid.
it
So you're
was
getting
like
the first reaction
on
is
the
what-
streets.
okay.
Yeah, people on the streets. And the other thing that's interesting, right? You're saying, okay, where do you draw the line? It does escalate. And so in the video, at the end of it, we actually said to the girls, what's the worst thing that's happened to you? And it's unbelievable. Like, the girls have been molested by bus conductors, by policemen. There was one girl who said a story about how she heard about her friend who the tuition teacher kind of, said something shady. News of it reached her home, and her father beat her up and stopped her tuitions and her education, basically.
Can I tell you my bad story? We were doing a play once, a rehearsal, and there's a girl called Shweta Shetty who was a famous singer then, and she and I used to travel by cab together because she had money and I didn't. We lived close by. That's a story for another day. But anyway, we reached JB Pettit where the rehearsal was, and while walking in, somebody touched her behind. And she screamed. So I was 18 years old, raging hormones, and everything was working then. And I turned around and I said, what happened? So she said, somebody touched me, and pointed to one old man. It's always some old man, And so obviously being 18 years old, I physically sort of confronted him. And he was really small. And after I hit him a couple of times and screamed at him, she said, okay, I'm not sure if it was him. At which point a whole group came and they started beating me up because it became a class issue, the rich boy with the jeans and all that, and the poor middle class, low middle class man and old man and whatever. And they also they had to put me inside the thing and lock me inside JB Pettit from the mob. So I'm just saying that we have to figure out this whole thing totally.
Yeah.
I was just stunned because you're not the demographic we're talking about. You're not an
No, I'm saying that, so when you stand up, for example, it's not that all men are bad. No, we hit the wrong guy there probably, which is a terrible.
You're absolutely right. Now, I would say that's the narrative. Like, I always try to. I really don't feel that men are the problem or that we need to other men
or generalize.
Yeah, where these are young people. Okay, they have their hormones raging. I mean, it's not like the girls want to be cloistered at home or be nuns either, right? The question is, what are the messages we're getting? How do we normalize relationships between boys and girls where this kind of stalking and aggression is not considered normal, and girls are not just always the recipients.
Also in India and in other cultures, I feel a lot of men have this ego issue because they're brought up in this way to believe that the sun shines out of their posterior. And I've seen their posteriors, there's no place for sun. And why I've seen that is another story. But because of that, the ego, when you go back to the Manu Sharma case, the ego is the problem. Why do you behave like a complete nutcase? All to do with ego. Rejection or perceived rejection or people laughing at you because the girl didn't respond. Yeah, and before you know it, bad behavior.
But nobody's telling them that this is not okay. You're not entitled to her love because you...
That's the word, entitlement. We gotta stop the entitlement.
Because you like like how she
Chavi,
looks.
today after 47 podcasts, you've cracked the whip. You've hit the word which I was searching for all along. Thank you so much. I feel like I've won a reality contest. Entitlement. Our men are too entitled. That's
There's a girl who says this in the video. She says, this is not love. Following us, getting us scared, freaking us out. How is this love?
It's the Tera namification of relationships.
And that movie is not just about bad hair. That's the point that we're trying to make.
Bad hair or death.
All right. Is that death? Death to the viewer.
Doesn't he die?
No, don't confuse the issue. Stop it. You've never seen a Hindi film in your life. What do you know?
I've seen Tere Naam.
You've seen half of a movie
nearly
called Naam.
slipped my wrists watching it.
But you know, to scale this up, Shavi, you said something about the demographic, right? Now, what's happening is when you're talking about Cosby, what are we seeing in India, right?
What about Pachori, for example?
Pachori, there's a Supreme Court Justice.
Yeah, but that's sort of gone under the scanner now.
Ganguly. I mean, these are people, when you read the messages that Pachori actually sent her, you know what he says? She said, apparently at some point she said, I don't want to be, stop holding me, trying to hug me, kiss me, all of this. And he says, but it's just love. Like, I just, like this, so it's that whole entitlement thing again, right? But I'm not an abuser. I'm not being a sexual harasser.
It's coming from a good place.
It's coming from a good place. There's this constant sense of entitlement that girls are just these passive recipients. And
I have a question.
What's your take on the Tarun Tejpal case, now that you brought it up?
Same thing. I mean, very similar.
I went into the same lift in the Hyatt, and it takes only 2 seconds to reach that second floor. Not much can be done, even for an Indian man who doesn't do much in any case. 2 seconds, too little time. Do you think it can be engineered the other way also? Sometimes I worry. I mean, you want to finger a guy, he has a bit of reputation of being a Don Juan, boom, boom, you can make him look really stupid fast.
You know, I can tell you with all these cases, for example, in the Pachori case, that young girl, she says that she's lost a lot of her career. He was given, she alleges that he was just given a very decent dismissal. Really, the onus is on her. When you try to file these complaints, I can tell you, most people say, hey, this is a he said, she just might be making it up. The amount of suspicion that actually ends up falling on girls, the responsibility you take on yourself by actually reporting these things, I find it, yes, there may be cases where people are abusing it. But again, we need to make sure the institutions and mechanisms are in place that this can be fairly investigated and it can be fairly
and not to make light
resolved.
of the situation, but I get hit on by women every day because I go to the geriatric Parsi ward in Parsi General and sometimes they say, boy, come here, and that immediately is like a come on. But I have to say that I think we also just keep reading the wrong cues in India. I have this column where I have to keep reading questions and I can't understand what people are thinking. I like this girl, I think she likes me, but she doesn't know who I am. I mean, what does that mean? Very often it's all imagination, The whole scenario is playing out in the boy's head and it's got nothing to do with reality. I'm telling you that's 80% of the problem because the girl's, it's like Rashoman. She's got a whole different track going on. He's got a whole different track going on. What's the point? And then he feels offended and therein lies the problem. Therein lies the rub, to quote the bard.
So I have a question for Madhuri. I watched Asking for It. It's on Facebook. And it made my stomach turn. Not because this was anything new, but because this
was it the chutney we shared before that?
No, Cyrus. It was the content, which was just these boys saying all this stuff. And I wanted to
very
reach
sexist.
through and shake them and just be like, who gives, you need to be brainwashed the other way. How do you deal with that? How, as a filmmaker?
And Madhuri, is there any personal reason for all this angst? Or did you have if you'd like to share?
No personal reason. No personal reason. No.
Okay,
I mean, I've worked with...
When you're comfortable, you talk to us.
Well, it's funny, I did my first documentary was in the US and it was in a beauty parlor in Queens. And it was...
What a funny pun, actually. It's called Queens, it's a beauty parlor. I don't know. Sorry. Yeah.
And it was these 3 women who were, one was from Bangladesh, one was from Pakistan, and one was from India, the 3 hairdressers. And the beauty parlor space was this really safe space where women, we spoke to the women about, and they were mostly South Asian and how they came to the US, this kind of, balance they struck between freedom and also most of them came because of family obligations, because of marriage.
Were they more free in the Western world or it's the same?
No, it was quite interesting. Some were, some weren't. Some found more freedom. Some actually found it more oppressive because they lost their community. It was very, it was a really interesting grey kind of area. And it actually got me interested a lot into gender issues. And then, of course,
That explains why my mother goes 4 months a year to America now. Gotta stop that, man. Gotta stop that.
So tell me how you felt talking to these boys. Did you want to beat them up? Which, of course, is not the right.
And how come they were so candid with you? I mean, There's just shame. There's no shame, right?
Well, no. To be honest with the boys, it's not like quite a few people.
No, do they not know what they're saying? Sometimes is it like
quite a few of them are fairly politically correct. I think the whole thing with Nirbhaya and all, there has become an awareness. And I mean, these are pretty big cities, Lucknow, Varanasi. We're not going to really, really small towns here. But sometimes when you basically push and prod, what I find with the boys, I didn't get angry with them. I felt that they were picking up cues from the world around them.
Chavi, now let's take the boys' side for a second. Also understand at that age group, it's all about the other gender. That's your life for a few years.
Of course,
and for
I
some of
get
us, for
that. But why is it not happening in other places? Why is it only happening in our culture?
There's a certain sexist tonality to all cultures.
It's happening everywhere.
It's the male trying to, mate.
Well, I have been groped and verbally harassed more in India, and so have you, than anywhere else in the world. I've lived on 3 continents.
But it's also population and
many countries.
Disparity and, I don't know.
So it also manifests differently. Like, for example, in the US, Breakthrough, we have an office there. They're working a lot about sexual violence on campus,
yes,
right?
Fair enough.
So it's just, there is. I mean,
there's a lot of date rape and other things as well. But it's talked about slightly. But yeah, of course.
No,
I got that. And construction workers will whistle as you go by. But maybe I've just faced more of it.
I think in the West, there's a little less fear of being humiliated, and perhaps for women from certain backgrounds, they can come forward with their story and get support. I think that's very important, the support thing, which doesn't happen so much here, but it may be getting better.
Yeah, I think there's more conversation about it. Women are moving forward. They're opening up about it. They're challenging it. You can see it in these high-profile sexual harassment cases. You can
Madhuri,
see it.
What's your view on the third gender? Do you feel they're targeted now? I mean, once we get this on the parity between the two genders, do we have to look at transgender also
Obviously.
now?
Of course.
Because they're really not given the right side of the track as from what I can gather. We tried to get one on the podcast and Amit Doshi, our producer, said, no way.
This is terrible.
This is terrible.
His point was like, we have 2 toilets, male and female.
He didn't.
I know.
There's a wall in between, they can use that. I was like,
Slander. Amit, I'm standing up for you.
Nobody believes you.
He's the nicest guy in the world. I take that back. I would never do that. After all, they may be our only listeners and we want to keep them. Why are you laughing? That's not funny. That's not nice. All right, let's move a little bit away. With a pretty heavy argument here on our podcast. We have to take a quick break. I've just been given the signal for big break, which is our producer removing his shorts and putting them on his head and then dancing the rumba. Good form. We'll be back. All right, back here on Cyrus Says, the podcast. We're talking to Madhuri and she's convinced me I have to have a vasectomy as fast as possible. No more young male brochures should be produced. I've accepted this and I've called the doctor, Dr. Das, who's a female, because I don't want to be touched by males. That's a whole different story, and don't get me into that sexist part. I got a problem with that. I don't like male doctors touching me.
Even we don't, right? I mean, there's so many male gynecologists though. Why? What's wrong with all of you men?
As you get older, all the problems are around those private areas and all that in any case. And the last thing I want is some old man going, well, beta, you are not taking care of yourself and playing with your things and all.
So even the men want women doctors and even the women want
I want women doctors. I want women security guards, and I'm not being sexist. Why? I'll tell you, I don't like men touching me. Is that sexist? I just don't like them touching me. It irritates me.
It's homophobic.
I'm not homophobic. If men want to touch themselves, that's fine. But I don't want to be touched. I want women to touch me if I have to be touched. So I've requested the government, you please, I don't care what they look like, how old they are, if they have hairy forearms or bigger shoulders than me, I want women to frisk me. You like it?
I think you should just get comfortable with all of it.
CISF guy is touching your lower thighs and having a conversation about cricket at the same time. Haan ji, Sachin Tendulkar ka kya hua? And then they're holding that position while they have a conversation.
With you or somebody else?
With the other guy, who's on somebody else's thigh. Now, if it was, Fatima instead, I'm okay. I'll let her have take her time. Not that I want her to, but I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
No males to touch. I think it's a huge issue and something, you're making light of it. You don't understand. I'm very ticklish. Men touch me, I start laughing.
I think women will touch you more gently, no?
Women will not want to touch me, they'll end fast. They'll be like, okay, he's fine, no terrorists here, next. Of course, I'll have to get the woman with the male voice, that's for sure. Let's get back to a very interesting thing is this gentleman player. Amit Doshi is an American Indian, let's face it, and I don't mean Native American, but American Indianish person. And so he loves American sport, of which we know nothing. Chavi, NFL, you spent 25 years, you never watched a game.
I didn't actually.
You did?
No, of course not.
Of course not.
I barely watched the Super Bowl.
You barely watched Americans. LaShawn McCoy is the name of the person.
Yes. Guess what his brother's name is?
Roger Moore?
LeRon, of course.
LeShawn. What if you have a lisp?
cute.
What if the mother had a lisp?
Like really
Lashon,
sweet
you wouldn't be able to tell.
Punjabis.
They are Punjabi.
Bubble and double.
McCoy. Sector 54, I remember them, that family. So shall we tell us the story? I've forgotten it.
So LaShawn decided to post on Instagram an invitation to a private party.
He's a superstar first. Just,
Yeah, with the Buffalo Bills. He's a what? Forward?
huge. He's like a Virat Kohli figure there. Yeah, then?
Totally. Just. Yeah,
Go on.
A footballer. So he decided to have a party, and the party says very clearly on it, it's the picture digitally done, saying
21 and above.
21 and above.
Hot women only.
Hot women only. Please send photos, send
Yeah, for
email
approval.
address, and send photo ID that matches, so we know it's you when you come in, and it's really strict.
And women only allowed.
Only women. And then
So he's like a cult guru now.
Yeah.
I'm the only male. I'll be doing a breeding program. All women over 21 are invited.
and so there
and
are
I will
pictures
decide.
from previous parties of him where
He's-
basically it looks like a MTV video shoot or something.
And he owns land in Haryana. There's some connection, but we're not clear. Investigative agencies are getting back on all that.
Yeah, so he's just surrounded by all these women. I don't
Then
know
what
he's
happened?
doing with
Did the
them.
party go through?
No, it was cancelled.
But what about women who actually updated and, what about women who love serial killers? I mean, there's all kinds of women who sort of enjoy this also.
Sad.
Aren't there?
So the reactions, did you see them online? Completely hilarious. So like some of the celebrities were like, what? Can we do that? How? Nobody can send me the memo that I can have parties like this.
And my thing is, if Oprah doesn't go for the party, I don't go for the party. And Oprah, over 21, but didn't go. She didn't go. She's a classy dame.
So what do you think about stuff like this? Like having a women's only party.
Well, I think if it's tongue in cheek and it's funny and whatever, it's one
it was
thing.
totally
but
serious.
Yeah, we take him.
Sounds like it.
But again, I'm more worried about the women who go. I'm like, their self-esteem is not
So
rocking.
do you think this is tied with like, yeah, of course.
I found my special person along with 3,000 other females. It's LaShawn McCoy. And I'll get to play with him for 4 seconds off the field.
What is this about, right?
I don't know. I'm just thinking of the self-esteem of the girl involved. If there are thousands of them flocking. I mean, who is this guy?
So, I'm going to bring it back to Bill Cosby.
Please
like
do.
all the women who they talked to were basically saying they didn't know how to bring down an institution, and everybody they talked
But
to.
there's a difference between LaShawn McCoy and Bill Cosby here, because you see, McCoy is just guilty of an egotistical madness
No. So
and thinking
all
that
the
women love him.
girls-
No. But this is criminal because you're getting them drunk and what's it called? Date rape? What's it called? It's called
So
something.
35 of these women, they were all sourced through their agents. He told these people.
You mean there's a syndicate involved of people?
And, well, they may
agents
not have.
and-
There obviously is some sort of secrecy involved. People knew things were happening.
I think it's here
But
too. All rich,
17-year-old,
powerful men who
18-year-old
organize
girls.
themselves.
He said, "Find me girls who look like this, who are not yet established," and then he would invite them over to mentor them.
Yeah. And some of the Midwestern families have large number of people. So you don't have to go far. No. Let's not make light of the
It's
situation.
literally sinister. It really is.
But what is sinister is the secrecy, the veil of secrecy. Because he's a superstar at the height of his career and he was America's beloved comedian.
Yeah, there's
Again,
guilt. There's this one girl, Jewel, her name is, a woman now, who said that she felt bad about trying to take down an American icon of the black culture because she herself is American Indian.
He was
Black
hugely
American.
important politically to the scheme of things. Fair enough.
Yeah.
This big black icon who is actually very white also, because
Yes.
he cut across.
Yes. Right.
So I accept that as a person trying to advertise America's greatness. That's fine. But, at the end of the day, this is some sort of rape against their wills. It's disgusting.
Some sort, no?
It is. No, and also they're underage. Many of them are 16, 15 at the time.
Yeah.
Which is a sickness now. The guy obviously needed help. And then he wrote books about how to raise families.
And then his wife stood by
So
him.
it's not just India that sucks. America sucks as well. Where are you going to go?
Me.
You love America.
Norway?
You hate Norway, filled with Indians. You'll have to go somewhere else.
Indonesia. No Indians. allowed.
Indonesia!
None. Zero.
We're everywhere.
No.
There's nowhere to hide.
There's
your
nowhere
new,
to hide.
There's new show for Madhuri Mohindar. She returns with nowhere to hide. Yeah. Where were we now?
We were talking about Sean.
No, we
We've
have
got to do
another.
our AMA. Oh, we've got.
We have a very important
very
topic.
Important.
This is
topic.
something which I feel now. You had your moment. We allow you to absolutely rant about sexism.
I think this is still our moment.
This
though.
is our
Since I was a little baby, which is Tuesday last week, I can tell you, in the first infant schools, colleges, workplaces, everywhere, gyms, wherever there's a collective of people, I have fought for air conditioning to be let on and fans. In the old days, we didn't have ACs. And people come and pretend to feel cold and shut it.
Pretend to feel
Yes.
cold.
It's disgusting because you have the attire available.
And were they all women?
Will they let me take my clothes off? I don't mind. I'll sit naked in the class, but they won't let you do that. All right? So while we are sweating and dying, you people, many of you with very low protein diets, have a huge issue because you're sitting there and complaining about everything and we're dying and you get everything your way. It's not right.
So, unfortunately, science
Well,
tells us...
stand up, Chavi, because you're being rude. I'm sorry, you haven't even
What?
spoken yet. Now speak.
What? What is this new
Go on.
rule?
I just took a
Just
dig.
randomly, huh?
Absolutely.
You think you're in class again?
No, I just don't know
I'm
where
a
I
teacher
am.
or something.
Yeah. The teachers always take the side of the people who are feeling cold.
Because there are usually women in India, and the deal is that science has said...
No, there are enough men also take your side. It's not the way you think.
No. Most men feel really hot. Most women feel really cold.
No,
most
who says
women,
that?
Science does.
Men have periods too. Please stop that.
What?
We have a flushed look about us 5 or 7 days a month.
What is he
For me, it's about 9. No, let me just come back.
Cyrus,
come back to the story.
I'll try.
No,
yeah.
It's not a sexist thing here. I'm telling you honestly.
It is.
No one cuts across. There are, on both sides, there are people who are for and against.
No.
Let's ask the neutral person.
But the discrimination is always against the people who...
Don't you dare make it a ladies' issue and attack me. Okay? Because I've fought men.
I always am trying to put the ACs off. I mean, look at us right now.
Yeah.
We're draped in
She's wearing a
sweaters.
sweater.
Yes, I invite you to put your hand under my armpit and feel the pain of a man who's sweating buckets.
You're not feeling hot. All we're saying
How
is
can
that...
we be secular when we cannot share the room?
I think we need separate men-only offices and women-only offices.
It's not a sex problem.
It is.
By and large, though, it is the women who are feeling cold.
No, I fight. Today in the
and
morning.
Generally, the man is the boss.
I had to hide the remote.
Yeah.
Because your wife was feeling cold. She's a woman. Yes.
Last.
Yeah, that's
2 years has been difficult for me. I'm not sure. But...
One time when I was in college, I used to work in an office for the vice president of something.
Vice president? Oh, okay.
He was the only man in the office. Everybody else, because this is typical 90s,
women,
we had blazers, jackets, sweaters, socks in the office.
Where?
In the office, we had to leave them there.
Which part of India?
Tennessee.
What's the weather like in Tennessee for us?
Well, in that office, it was like 4 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, but if it's already 4 degrees Celsius...
No, it was nice outside. You had to leave winter clothes in the office because it was freezing.
First, it's in the office, there's a vowel there. And secondly, let me tell you more importantly, that Tennessee is Tennessee and this is Maharashtra.
I'm talking about
a
here
muggy,
as well.
Deccan sort of atmosphere.
I'm freezing.
Where are you freezing? We're
right
in Famous
now,
Studio.
Yeah, in Famous Studio because of you.
Then why am I sweating? Am I mad? Woman, have I lost my mind?
You're a man.
No, it's not that.
No, you also got used to AC. You probably
What
had
rubbish?
AC all the
We're
time.
a poor family. My father's whole thing was, he fooled me for 20 years, my dad. He said, Sunday we'll put the AC on, take off your shirt and lie on the floor, it gets cool. And then after 1 hour, he puts it off and says it stays for 18 hours after that.
That's hilarious.
I used to lie with my back on the floor till Sunday evening, not knowing what a fool he made of me, just to save money. Okay, so it's not like that. I'm not from a rich family. This is not fair.
Okay, I think we should open this up to our listeners. If you're a woman...
They can't talk back. That's
and you're
the
a
only
man,
reason
they
we can
totally
carry on with the show.
What Cyrus says at gmail.com, or we're on Twitter. Obviously, if you're listening, you know this. So tell us, do you think there's a gender divide?
How can you feel cold in our country? The British came here, removed their long pants, and they ran the country in shorts.
Right now.
Any sensible person wear shorts. It's too hot.
I wore a skirt, but I'm wearing a lungi on top of it because you're freezing me here.
You're doing all that because of the perverts out there. My problem is different.
I brought it to wear here. I'm going to go back in my skirt only.
I don't know. Maybe you're supporting different cultural dresses of India.
No.
In your new book.
No.
I need more room to dance, which I've read. But no, listen, this is not fair. Please, this is a very personal issue with me. Let me have this one. It's not fair. And Amit, yeah.
We're going to share an office. He's going to freeze me.
They would, in St. Xavier's College, the fan was 40 feet high. It hardly gave you any air, and they would put it off. Miss Eunice D'Souza, the queen of literature, would come and put it off.
She must have been feeling cold.
Anything to do with America. She thought fans were invented in America, so let's destroy it.
I hope she's not listening.
You did literature in Xavier's, me too.
I did. Yes, Cyrus, yes, stand up, okay. Put the fan off.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not Sylvia Plath. Don't tell me what to do. I've had enough. No, I got to tell you one thing. This is not fair. I want to say the last word on this. Please carry sweaters. It's easy.
We're doing that and
carry
my
raincoats.
fingernails are blue.
Oh, eat more healthy food, whatever, but don't come after us.
You guys should just...
You know why? Why did Alexander turn around? He reached Multan, Lower Punjab, and he couldn't bear the heat. I mean, he could, but the rest couldn't. So they turned around. Genghis Khan came all the way up to the Ladakh area, turned around. Why? I'm not going into the heat. Nobody want to go to the heat.
Right, so you guys
People
should
who
go
made
away.
mistakes.
Go
Timur went berserk in Delhi because he was so hot. So he slaughtered everyone.
Canada.
I'm telling you, it's too hot. Please, I would say that India should return to the old clothes system. Men wear just their loincloths and nothing more. Of course, they can cover their faces with that. That's
Great. So then we don't need AC anymore, right?
Yeah. Then I don't mind. But let me take off my clothes. I won't
do it.
I'm going to do it right now.
Oh God! Shield your eyes! Ah!
No. It could take you hours to find anything. Don't worry. All right, we'll take a break and then we'll come back and we've got lots more to talk about with these vicious killer women who are attacking me with no compassion in their hearts. Save the girl child is fine. What about the fat man? Nothing for the fat man!
Cyrus Says, ask me anything. If you want Cyrus to answer your questions on air, send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com. If you send us a link to a sound file on SoundCloud, we'll even play you asking the question in your own voice. And that's what Cyrus says.
Welcome back. It's called Cyrus Says, and they viciously cut me down. I was a big oak tree, and now I'm just a sapling. Madhuri and Chavi combined forces. It was like the Allies
We're so frozen, we can't do anything.
in 1944.
Yeah, it's
Frozen
true.
in what way? What
We need
are
our
you trying to
socks.
say? You need some excitement, is it? Don't talk like that! Bang! Now you're laughing. See, where's the line? Where's the line? It's not fair. I had a friend called Ami Patel who told me you can say anything you want to a girl, don't worry, they won't feel bad. So I thought that would work. It didn't, let me tell you. Yeah. But I think it's all about levels of comfort before we get into the EMA. Still, there is no line. This is my belief. If someone is comfortable with you, you can make fun of their parents or religion or whatever. And if they're not, you can't. That's all there is to it. Right?
And if you don't know them at all.
No, so it sounds
don't
sexist to a
presume
third
to do
person,
that.
but two people with a good rapport can get away with a lot.
Yeah. But if
Also
you're
at the same
stalking
time.
a girl, you don't have a rapport.
That's different. That's between strangers, a guy, If he says, I want to make friendship with you, that's a giveaway you want to run away.
Somebody on Twitter asked me yesterday
I
if
wanna
I'm
make friendship
seeing
with you.
someone. And I said, who wants to know? Because I was being funny. And he said,
Yeah.
me. Will you be my girlfriend? And I said, that's not how it works.
Amit, were you on Twitter last night? Sorry, we'll get back to you on that, Chavi. You hang in there. Give us the EMA. What's up? What's on?
All right. So the first question is something that came in too late to be asked while we had Suresh and Jose on the show.
But tell Madhuri
But
who
Stephen-
Suresh and Jose are. While she's saving the world, she won't know the
They
comedians.
do this really cool podcast called Kaan Masti.
They're
So-
two of the most beautiful men I've seen in my life.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
That rapport is yours.
Yeah.
Right. So Stephen emailed to say, a Parsi, a Catholic, and a Mallu guy enter the bar. Who do you think would get drunk first? This is clearly
But-
for you three, no?
I got to tell you, as far as I know, this question depends on who has the money. I mean, because this bar is not free. And I had a very good technique. I would always, I don't know if people do this, whenever I go to a club or wherever, I don't anymore, but when I did, I would always linger back so that you don't actually pay. This problem, there is a problem with this, and that is, you can't really order either. So you have to be a little careful. So it's almost like karma. Your destiny is in the hands of what's happening. But one guy will become the alpha. What happening? And then you sort of pull back so you don't actually pay. So my mind, until I got drunk, in which case then I don't know what exactly is happening, and then you get a big bill. That's
So
really
the
not fair.
Parsi is not the answer then.
No, I don't think it's got anything to do with the ethnicity. It's got to do with the fact whether you've got the money in your pocket and willing to spend it. And how depressed are you about your life. And how women reject you, and hence you need to drink faster, and so then you
And
pay.
how cold it is.
It's you're going to put the AC off in the bar. First you took away cigarettes, then you took away women, saying we can't talk to them properly, and now you take away the AC. No mas, stop. Sorry, next question.
Okay,
got?
this question comes from Kiran.
Kiran.
Yeah.
It sounds fake. If you laugh, it's fake. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're laughing?
I don't know what to say. Poor
It's fake.
Kiran.
Go ahead, Kiran. It's a nice
Kiran
generic
says,
name.
What do you think of World Emoji Day? Did you know there
for a
was a
minute
World
I thought-
Emoji Day last week? Do you know what an emoji is?
I thought it was a form of, a constipation device like Imodium, but then obviously it's not. So what is emoji? Can you enlighten us? Madhuri, you're the young one here. But no disrespect to you, Chavi, who are youngish as well.
Thanks.
Is an emoji a smiley and
That's
things
right.
like that?
Uh,
Emoticon?
That's the right
Yeah.
word. Yeah.
Okay.
What the hell does it mean? I have no idea. I can't.
There was a World Emoji Day on a Friday that went by.
And who would miss that? You went for every celebration. Go on, tell us.
But
Question
so what?
for you.
People are dressing up as emojis?
I
No, we've reached a point that, see, while in one part of the world there's terrorism and people are blowing each other up and there's all kinds of crazy things happening and women are searching for parity and all that, another part of the world, they have nothing to do. So they say, let's have a World Chocolate Day, World Friendship Day. I thought World Friendship Day is the worst idea ever. I mean, would you really get up and, wake up and call a friend and say, hi, happy Friendship Day? I just think it's so awkward and disgusting. And no one will talk to me if I would say that to anyone. I can't think of that as a way to talk to someone. So what about emoji? I don't get it. I just don't
Do
understand.
you use emojis?
I do actually.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes it saves you time.
Totally. I
Look at,
use them all the
somebody,
time.
especially when people, it's formal, thanks, good show, whatever. Amit will send, all lies. So you don't want to say, oh yeah, great, it was great for me too, or whatever. You just send one smile.
Fine.
Yes, I do.
I send the thumbs up a lot.
I do the tongue one. But then now after the sexist comments that you've given me, I'm going to have to rethink that. Yeah, especially to men. Because maybe they get something else out of it. So sending me 2 tongues back. Then how do I go 3 tongues back? God, scary.
So my brother, his at one point he was on a BlackBerry.
want me to send him a tongue?
No, his button stopped working on his birthday.
Huh.
So every message he got, he basically could only reply with either hearts or these really funny
But we're not
smileys.
fooling anyone, huh? We're not
Random men, bosses, whatever. he
Love
said.
it.
using the emoji is equivalent to giving back the gift that you've already got on somebody else's birthday because you're not working hard. The whole idea is, okay, it's somebody else's birthday. What gift can I give them? I've already got this one. I don't like it. Boom. It's the same thing. You don't want to actually have a conversation. You want to, go into the whole thing.
I sent birthday cake, champagne glasses, the martini glasses.
I have got a foolproof idea. Want to avoid presents? Don't go to the birthday.
You're talking about WhatsApp and
okay, sorry.
Facebook. What?
I have my own show with another guest. Dinesh, you've been invited to parties.
Take your presents. Yeah.
I had a friend who made a big faux pas the other day. He went to a party and he looked at a painting. The host showed him a collection of paintings. He said, "Wow, this is so bad. I could have done this in the third standard with my left hand." And Anjali Ila Menon was standing behind. And it was her painting.
No,
it's true. It's true. And it's just amazing. And I was just, how can this happen to someone? And she was really offended.
I think the emoji for that is sad face.
There's no way out. No, so he the whole evening he kept bringing her drinks and he just overdid the whole. There's no way to go. He was just trying to be funny. Who would think the painter standing behind? But when this happens, it's just
artiste.
There's no icon, emoticon left to help you.
Yeah.
I think we've almost reached the end. Is there any more questions?
There's one more question.
Oh God, no.
I'm so sorry.
No problem.
That was me. So Shivani has written to ask you, what do you think about service charges in restaurants?
I have the same email. There's no Shivani.
You blind?
What the hell? You're just making up questions. Who's Shivani? Kiran, was it male or female? I didn't even get that. But Shivani is female. I want to know more.
I'll ask them to send a photo.
No,
and if they're under 21 or over 21, then you can vet the questions. Is that
Please
what you
don't
want?
stalk her though.
Yeah.
Listen, Madhuri, they don't send their pictures. Okay? It never happens.
Samantha
You're a
Fox.
women. You know what happens.
Do you know, I saw a Facebook profile with Samantha Fox.
And the girl's name is what? Subalakshmi Rao and Samantha Fox. Yeah, it happens. But Samantha Fox now, I take Subalakshmi any day. I've seen her.
I have not seen her.
She's an emoticon on her own now. Getting back to the service charge, let
What do you think? Is it
Madhuri's
fair
sister
or unfair?
Tarini runs a restaurant called Zoe. So they will answer this better than us. So she can't run away from it because in a sense she's a proprietor of sorts. So what is this whole thing? There's a service charge. There's a service tax. Let's just be clear. Service charge is unrelated. That's when you see that you don't pay a tip, right? Yeah. You shouldn't pay a tip because it's 10% generally, if I remember correctly. And service tax is different, which is the patron has to pay whatever. So what's happening with these restaurants?
I mean, just because my sister owns a restaurant, I'm not the expert, but I do feel with service charge, it's nice. I mean, you're giving as long as the restaurant is making sure and you're ensuring that money is actually going to the waiters and busboys and the staff in the kitchen and all of that, which I know for a fact that my sister's restaurant, Cafe Zoe, shout out, does. I think it's okay. I think it's fine. I think people sometimes can be pretty cheap
but
and
kills
not
that
leave.
Interpersonal relationship you have with the waiter, especially in the Western world. I'm sad that your social life has come down to this, but yeah, you depend on the waiter. And I'm saying because it's also like a romance of being a waiter.
But in the Western world, like in New York, it is standard. You have to give 15%.
Compulsory. Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
it's socially embarrassing if you don't. And that's not the case here.
Also, wait staff in America does not make minimum wage, right? They have to make tips to make money. So
Right.
they're not paid.
And you have worked in Tennessee as a waitress.
Yeah. So
How much did you get per table? What was the normal thing? 10%?
I actually
15?
have not.
Why couldn't you just lie for the sake of argument?
Okay, fine. I dated somebody who did. So
You dated a waiter. Your parents are proud?
He's a teacher, but he was moonlighting.
Oh, right. And simultaneously. Here's a beer, and let me tell you, theory of relativity begins on a day pass.
He could be a waiter. It's cool.
Yes,
Waiters are
dignity in
cool.
labor as long as you're
For
working.
goodness sakes.
No, but listen, the controversy.
I'm trying to remember. It was a really good pizzeria.
No, the
So he
controversy-
made, minimum wage was like $4.15 at that point. He made something like $2.20, and it was given that he had to make up the money in tips, and you had to leave tips, and he would feel bad, and people didn't. But then 10% doesn't cover it, right? For here, 10% is good because you are getting some sort of salary, I suppose.
No, 10% in Zoe would be, say, 2,000 rupees for 4 people. That's $200. So if he has 10 or 12 customers in the day, he stands to make 1,500
Zoe is an
2,000
exception.
rupees.
There was an expose about how most restaurants do not give that money to the waiter.
I like how you said Zoe is an exception to make sure Madhuri doesn't hit you.
No, there's also one more, which is, what is that? Mocha Mojo. Yeah? Those guys. They give all of it to their stuff. Other restaurants just don't.
So, yeah.
I heard there's a restaurant, Chicken Center in Nana Chowk, which gives the customer to the staff. Yes, Brocha, have your way with him. It's really nice. No tip. No.
I mean, I think the argument is, look, if the idea is you want the money to go to the staff, but you think that they deserve it, then great. We should be making an issue of the service charge and making sure restaurants are giving it. But to not give them anything or to say that, people on like big bills will leave like
100 rupees.
Madhuri,
Yeah,
I have,
100 rupees.
I have spoken to waiters. My social life is such that staff is the only people who talk to me now. And let me tell you, they often complain, especially in middle-class restaurants, perhaps not Zoe, but as you go lower down the chain, that they don't always get the tip.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
the tip, the manager is the big gun there. he gets all the money and he'll make the decision, and they have a hierarchy and they follow that. Now 10% cutting across the board like that, or 15, whatever the number is, at least there's some sort of equality, communism of waiters or catering, if
they're getting it right. I don't think they are, though, personally.
There's only one way to find out. Just how we crack the case against gender inequalities and all that. We have to do this by becoming waiters and finding out the truth.
Oh God, can I suggest something else?
Did you call me God? Not misplaced. Go on, tell me.
So, a friend of mine actually does this.
It's always a friend of yours. I find it very
And he was going to be a
guest.
guest on our show, except there was a cancellation.
He couldn't pay the bill. No, God.
So, and what I've started doing is, you ask them, are you going to get this service charge? And if they say no, or it's split, or a percentage, then you say, I'd like you to take it off my bill, and I will leave cash. And they are legally obligated to do that.
Oh, is that so?
Absolutely. You can
I
get
think
it
that's
struck
better
off.
because the guy who served you gets the money, he puts it in his pocket, boom.
You can leave that
everybody's
cash,
happy.
he will get it in his own pocket.
So, waiters everywhere, we are with you, my brothers and sisters. And there are waiters, waitresses as well. We are with you, and we hope one day to have a world. I have a dream, in fact, that one day all my
You
waiter
have a
friends,
dream.
brothers and sisters will come together as one and wave their hands just like in the last verse of We Are the World. All right? All right. That's all we have time for, Madhuri. Thank you. Let's again plug the film, which is called
Can't Hide Me, and Boys Will Be Boys online.
Boys Will Be Boys, already breaking records, going viral. Check it out. Madhuri, Mohindar, and Chavi. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Will you stop looking like the Phantom? She's folded her hands in this
Yeah, I
expression
think
of
we
anger.
need to turn off the AC and get out of here.
What is the hell? Bad body language is this? Nobody sits like that.
Frozen.
This-
Bye.
No, this is like
Bye.
interrogation. I will not tell you. Pakistan didn't do it. What the hell?
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
All views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily the views and opinions of the IndusVox Media Network or any of our show advertisers or sponsors. No animals were harmed in the making of this podcast, obviously.
All right, Cyrus Says is wrapping up, but we have Geek Fruit, which we want you to check out, hosted by Uber Geeks Tejas Menon and Jishnu Guha. They're like Simon and Garfunkel, except they're Tejas and Jishnu, and they can't sing. No, they can actually. And they talk about geek culture. If you're a geek or want to know about geeks or live with a geek or just next to Turkey is geek, go ahead, my friends. Listen to Geek Fruit.